Hello and welcome, everybody, for the slightly overdue Q&A, or rather the answers to the Q&A. Now, this video might take a little while. I don't know how long it's going to take. I have a customary cup of tea. I have all your questions on a Word document, and what I'm going to try to do is basically take the Word document that I've created and add it to the kind of synopsis of the video with the name of the subscriber or the viewer who asked the question, what the question was, and the timestamp that hopefully, if I have enough time, you can just click on. So if you don't have enough time to watch the entire video, or you just maybe want to see your question kind of answered again, then hopefully you can just click this little link and it'll take you right to the timestamp of the video. So fingers crossed. And there are quite a few questions, and they're all really good. Actually, my only worry is that I miss somebody out. I don't think I've missed anybody out. The ones that there were some duplicate questions, but coincidentally, unfortunately, when there were duplicates, nearly always one of the viewers asked another question, so at least two questions. So you might only get one of your however many questions you asked answered, but I've tried to make sure that everybody gets at least one answered. So, well, this will be quite a relaxed and gentle-paced video. I'm not in any particular rush to get these answered, and there's actually there might even be some poem reading at some point. It depends how long the video gets, and the user that asked for this is probably nodding his head thinking, this is my question. Okay, but it's not the first question. Anyway, let's crack on to it and find out a bit more about me. I should probably start by telling you that my first name is Matt, or Matthew, but nearly everybody calls me Matt. Mum calls me Matty sometimes, but nearly everyone else calls me Matt, so now you know my first name. Alright, the first question comes from Tosca. And I think Tosca is a recent change of username, but I don't want to say the old name in case you changed it for a reason. But of course I remembered you. Okay, how did you get into ASMR? Do you watch ASMR regularly? If so, who is your favorite ASMR artist? And also, when you grow bigger, will you make a Twitter? Now, I think the chair lady of my subscribers, Bubble Dust ASMR, has already answered this in the comments anyway. I have set up a Twitter account, but I haven't done anything on it yet. I haven't even added a picture, but I do intend to start posting things and getting a bit more involved with Twitter. It's Articulate ASMR, so at Articulate ASMR. If you want to check it out, that's fine. Okay, to answer your questions, how did I get into ASMR? Now, I think ASMR has been around for like 7 years or something. And I think the first ever ASMR orientated, albeit unintentionally, video I ever saw was the virtual haircut, which I'm sure most of you have seen and have heard. And I found this fascinating, this idea of 3D sound is kind of what it was advertised as. Being able to hear in real time somebody walking around you, I thought was incredible. And I think it was that watching that video that maybe made ASMR appear on my recommended list, without understanding what ASMR actually is. Now, this wasn't really one of your questions, but I don't actually experience ASMR. That might come as a huge surprise to some of you. I used to. I have experienced it as a kid, so I know exactly what the tingling sensation feels like, and it's amazing. I remember quite vividly experiencing it, seeing a doctor, a dentist. I remember my art teacher coming over one day, and he had like a charcoal pencil, and I remember him saying that you just need to shade this a little bit, add some shading in here, just a bit more shading, a touch up. You need to remember where the light's reflecting from, where the light's coming from. Shade, 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 shade. And I remember my head buzzing, like a really tingly kind of like, and I loved it. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what I was experiencing. I don't even remember asking myself, why is this happening? I think I just thought this is just what happens, because it had always happened. And I think maybe kind of around kind of adolescent, I don't know what kind of age, maybe as I was hitting kind of double figures, maybe a bit older than that, I don't remember it stopping. I don't remember thinking, oh, this happened before, but it's not happening anymore. But I don't experience it anymore. So the reason I enjoy ASMR so much is because the combination of the sound and voice. I've always liked voice. And I realize I haven't answered any of your questions yet. Okay. Well, I answered how I got into ASMR. Do I watch ASMR regularly? All the time. All the time. I sit with 2 monitors, so I'm usually playing something on this monitor, and then listening or watching somebody or something on my spare monitor. Maybe half the time it's ASMR related. And to grab some tea. While I don't really experience tingles, it's voice that attracts me. Even before I found the barber video, the 3D haircut, I remember having a playlist on YouTube of kind of monologue type scenes from movies, people with strong voices like Anthony Hopkins, Patrick Stewart, that kind of thing. And I've always liked it. And that's why the vast majority of my videos will almost always be based around voice with sounds, because sound's important. But yeah, so I do listen to it all the time. Who is my favorite ASMR artist? Well, I suppose in minutes listened, the French Whisperer would definitely take the cake. I suppose it's fair to say he's my favorite, but I again tend to gravitate towards people who are active and who get involved at some level with their subscribers. Not, of course, replying to everything, because once you get over that, maybe like 5,000, it becomes almost impossible to talk to everybody. But I like active content creators. So the French Whisperer aside, Ephemeral Rift obviously is always going to be thereabouts at the top. I think Phoenician Sailor is definitely one of my biggest inspirations for creating videos. I remember watching his zoo video 3 years ago and thinking this was just incredible. I'm very aware that I'm on the first question. This is going to be like 5 hours. Okay. So yeah, Ephemeral Rift, Phoenician Sailor, Scottish Murmurs, I think is a very, very, very clever artist. I think there's a lot more going on in her videos than people understand. I think she's a very intelligent lady, and she makes some really, really clever things. You take the mechanic roleplay that she made a little while ago as an example. And maybe I'm overthinking this. I have quite an analytical mind. It's kind of why I plan, I suppose. But there are parts in this video that I can't help but think it's almost some very clever spin on not sexism, not even just she's playing a predominantly male role. There are many female mechanics in the world, and she makes kind of joking innuendo that a man would probably make, I just think there's a lot more going on in nearly all of her videos. There's always some underlying theme that if you watch hard enough, it reveals itself. So I really, really respect the work that she does. Bright Grey ASMR. I think this girl's going to flourish into something super, super special. She's got an absolute natural gift for ASMR, and to have her posting on my channel from time to time is just... both of them, actually, Scottish Murmurs and Bright Grey, have made an appearance. And I'm really not just saying that. I don't know if it's a coincidence or how it happened, but yeah, both of them are really, really, truly amazing. And of course, Massage ASMR. And you know what? There are so many, actually. Ross Couple Rabbit, I think she makes the most charmingly delightful videos. I could do this all day. I am subscribed to so many people. Of course, Terrar. I think Terrar is an absolute milestone and an absolute knight, a shining knight of the ASMR community. What he does with new subscribers, new channels and everything is just amazing. Okay, this is going to be like a 2-hour video or something. Right, I hope that answers your question, Tosca. I could talk about this all day. Just that, who do I listen to and who's my favorite? There are so many I haven't even mentioned. So many I'm going to kick myself after. I also think Bubble Dust ASMR has some very, very real potential. And I'm quite excited to see how she gets on. Okay, question 2. From Faze Bill Cosby. Do you speak any languages other than English? I'm really interested in linguistics and stuff, and that's why I want to know the answer to this question. Sadly, I only speak English. I could tell you I love you in Greek. I could speak a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of French, and a little bit of Dutch. But I couldn't hold a conversation, and I would probably even struggle to order tea in any of those languages. So, no, to answer your question. Thank you. That was easy. Okay, this actually is from Bright Grey ASMR, the next question. I'd love to know what kind of music you like. Okay, I've never really been attributed to one genre of music, and maybe this is kind of comes with age, but if you were to listen to like my last or 10 recommended music videos on my YouTube channel, you would see Celtic Women, The Voice, which I love, kind of dramatic, evocative music, I think maybe is the best word. Quite a lot of symphonic metal I quite like. So yeah, the Celtic Women, Within Temptation, Keen I really like. But I can listen to Rihanna, Lady Gaga. I think Eminem's a fantastic rap artist. I've been listening to his albums since I was a kid. All of Linkin Park's albums, every single one of them. A song I've been listening to loads at the moment is Disturbed's The Sound of Silence. I think this song is absolutely incredible, and I think the cover that they do is masterful. It's amazing, it really is. I listen to, honestly, all sorts of music. I'm a big, probably my favorite song ever would be Pavarotti singing Nessun Dorma in basically any live version you can find. He's that song is incredible. There are so many bands. I'm a big fan of Nightwish. I saw them in Holland a couple of years ago for their Imaginarium tour. I forget the name of the album. I'm clearly a big fan, but I'm a big supporter of Nightwish and bands like that. Lots of orchestra, lots of powerful vocal. I like big music. I really do. Okay, I don't know if that answers your question or not. I'm gonna kick myself when I move on to the next question and say, why didn't I say that, or why didn't I say this? And I hope I'm not speaking too fast, because I have so much to say on every question because they're really good questions. Okay. Thank you, Miss Grey ASMR. Okay, this is from Bubble Dust ASMR. What are your future plans for your channel and what is your next goal? Well, from after like my third or fourth video, I think maybe the psychiatrist, is when I thought that what I can do with videos is something that at least some people will like. And I wondered if I could reach 1,000 subscribers. That was, I suppose, like my goal. My objective of the channel was just to make people happy, and getting to 1,000 subscribers, just having 1,000 people, that's a crazy figure, but having 1,000 people who look forward to your work, who want to share your work and get involved and talk to you, that's been done now. And I have an amazing pool of subscribers that are so involved. And again, if I made this point before, if you look at the rate of comments and likes I get against the views I have, it's insane, because people are so involved with the content. And this isn't an option, by the way, but if there was an option to close subscribership, I would have seriously considered it, because I'm almost never going to make a living out of YouTube. I just do it because I like seeing people happy and being involved with somebody who shares a common interest. You know, it's magical. And some of the comments I've read, and I go back, I'll sit with a cup of tea and reread them and think, this is just incredible. I can't believe somebody has said this to me about something I've done. That will never grow old. That novelty will never go away. I'll never stop replying to comments, even if I get to one day 10,000 subscribers. I would still be replying to loads. Maybe not every single one, because, well, there are time constraints. But definitely that was a big goal, and it's been achieved. But to answer your question, what's next? I don't know. You can see the backdrop behind me. I have ordered a green screen, which that's actually a black screen, but and it wouldn't work without some artificial lighting in the room. So I've ordered a softbox, I think it's called. So I might be doing green screen work soon. Then from there, I really want to keep doing maybe one a month of the answering subscriber comments while typing. I really enjoyed that video. I enjoyed the feedback. My spontaneous monologue roleplay videos, they'll always be there. Maybe collaborations in the future. Collaborations are difficult for me because I wouldn't want to detract from anybody's success or share anyone else's success, or I don't know. It's difficult. I just don't want to burden anyone else with having to think something up, or I don't know. I don't like upsetting people, really, is kind of what I'm saying. I don't like disappointing people. That's always been a big fear of my life, and kind of what drove me to kind of progress in my career at work. I've always kind of pushed, and I'll probably do the same thing with ASMR. I always aspire to do as well as I can, and I wouldn't want my mistakes to be anyone else's, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying I wouldn't love to do a collaboration. I just would be a little bit apprehensive. I don't mind messing up for me, but I wouldn't want to mess up for anyone else. And of course, at some stage at work, that attitude had to go. You know, I work in a big team at work, and conquering it at work took a couple of years until I just had confidence in myself and thought, no, I'm actually the man. You know, I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at my job. ASMR, I'm still very new to, so maybe after a little while and I build up confidence and belief in my own work, then we'll see. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, the legend himself, Prince of Doge. If you were to choose a decade or century to live in before 1980s, which would it be, why, and what 3 things from the future would you bring with you, barring that you aren't burned as a witch or subject to aggressive investigation for your knowledge of things yet to pass? It's a good question. Sorry, I'm trying to relax and keep it relaxing for you. Maybe this won't be the most ASMR orientated video I'll make. For that I apologize, but hopefully it'll be something fun and make you smile. I'm certainly smiling. Okay, any time period. This would be between 2. Either somewhere around 350 BC in the years of Alexander, but probably anywhere between the 9th, 10th, and 11th century. I would like to be some kind of aspiring knight, or to live in a world of knights. Knights have a code of conduct, that a sense of chivalry that I, in a cliche way, try to aspire to, a sense of righteousness, that doing the right thing and being nice. That sounds, again, really quite cliche, and you're probably shaking your head, Doge. But yeah, I would probably be in like the 10th century. And I'm not of noble birth, so I couldn't really be a knight, but if I'm allowed to take 3 things back with me, maybe one can be a title to nobility. And if I couldn't get a title to nobility because it's not something you can really buy in the modern world, I would take back a big bag of precious metal coins, probably 1 ounce gold coins, because gold has never lost its value in any era. So if I went back with a bag full of gold, even unminted gold rounds, I would be a very wealthy man. So if I can't get the title, I'll take the gold back. Probably a lifetime supply of antibiotics. I don't know if that would get me burned at the stake. Probably. It's kind of witchy. Some kind of medicine. I guess I could stash off as food somehow. I don't know. And randomly, probably something like I was going to say some kind of music player so I could listen to ASMR, but they would only last as long as the battery would last, so that would seem like a wasteful thing to take. You probably want something that can last for a long time. But then if I can take infinite antibiotics, maybe I can take infinite batteries. I don't know. I think I'm cheating now. Probably something like... What might be quite fun actually is to take back some kind of book of engineering or kind of mathematics or physics that at that stage hadn't been... Actually, no, that definitely would get me burned. I was going to say it would be interesting to see what impact that would have on the timeline of the future. If we made discoveries that we made in the 16th or 17th century, in the 11th and 10th century, maybe they were being made, and as I said, the discoverers were being burned and kind of executed. So that's what I would go for. Some kind of advanced book of engineering or physics, precious metal, and antibiotics. I hope that sells the question. Okay, the next one is from Gold Mika, who makes amazing work, by the way. You should check out our channel. Do you have a favorite quote? Yes, I do. And it's actually printed on this lighter, which featured in, I think it was the psychiatrist video. I don't know if you can see it. It reads as, upon the conduct of each depends the fate of all. Now, this quote in particular comes from my most favorite historical figure of Alexander the Great. Again, I'm kind of drawn to righteousness and morality and sense of duty, and I think Alexander was an incredible human being, and I think he did a lot more for the world than people realize. He was the first one that believed in kind of mixed culture, mixed race. He took a lot of Greek women from Greece and moved them to Egypt and kind of started an idea of blending Egyptians and Greeks as one nation instead of trying to keep them segregated and rule and dominate them. He saw us as human beings, not as color or creed or race or whatever. And I really really aspire to that myself, so I've always been a big fan of Alexander the Great, and it would have been incredible to move back into 350 BC to see him, but I don't think I would have got anywhere near him. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Hello Toast. What do you want to be when you grow up? Now, before I answer the question, I have to say, Toast, if you've made it to this point in the video, because we're like 1/3 of the way through, and this video, I don't know how long it is, but it's probably going to be quite long. If you're still watching, then I want to read something that Hello Toast wrote after his question. And the reason I want to read it is because I'm going to feature it in a video some point soon. Now, as you know, my videos are always unscripted. I just put on the camera and talk, but this will be the first line I want to memorize and repeat in a video because I think it's so poignant and really very, very beautiful. So, Mr. Toast, he says, when I was about 7, my teacher got us to fill out these getting to know you sheets, which got put up on the wall. One of the prompts was, when I grow up, I want to be. All the other kids put fireman or teacher. I didn't understand the question and wrote, happy. One of the cool girls told me I was weird, but I think I had the right idea. That is very, very beautiful to me, Toast. That really is that's incredible to read, and I would really like to feature that in the video somehow. So I won't forget. I don't know when it'll be because I'll need to find the right character to convey that kind of message. I probably could have used it last night in The Sailor, actually, if I thought about it. But The Sailor was a strange video anyway, so okay. Hope that answers your question. Wait, no, I didn't answer your question. What do I want to be when I grow up? Weirdly enough, I also want to be happy. I can just continue living my life exactly as I'm living it, and that's exactly what I want to be when I grow up. Happy. Secret CCTV camera. Are you into skiing or any other sports, preferably extreme? Sorry to disappoint, buddy. The closest I've been to skiing was my ex-girlfriend and I took us slope skiing. It's like an instruction course before we went off to try to ski, and she didn't really like it, so we didn't go back. I will try it one day though, because I really enjoyed it, and I really I like speed and adrenaline, and I love theme park roller coasters, that kind of stuff, and I was getting the sense of that when I was skiing, so I did enjoy it, but I haven't really done enough of it to say I've been skiing, so sorry. Okay, next question is from Shensu. At least I think it's Shensu. It's a Hebrew name. He left the Ian at the bottom of the question, so I presume Ian's his name, but I think his username translates to Shensu. What food do you like? Are you more of a sweet or salty guy? I am a huge lover of steak, any kind of meats, really. I'm a big fan of meat that's cooked to my kind of taste. I like my meat quite red and quite pink. Lamb, pork, beef, you name it, I like it. I'm quite a... No, I'm not. I was going to say I'm quite a chef myself. I'm not. But I can cook a really good steak with a nice kind of, a nice blue cheese kind of sauce. It's called beef anglaise. Nice rare steak with some really creamy and salty mash. So I'm more of a salty guy than a sweet guy, but I do love my sweet food as well. I love desserts. I love chocolate. I love food in general, really. My only issue with my eating habits, I would love to like more vegetables. I can eat them, I can, but I think they detract from my meal. So when I'm at a restaurant and if it's like a fillet steak with chips and mushrooms, I would ask for no mushrooms because I feel like it detracts from my plate a little bit. And again, I understand the nutritional value behind veg, and I would really love to like it. I just don't enjoy it very much. I also make a really tasty Thai green curry that has a lot of fresh lime in it, lime zest, lemongrass, just the right amount of spice, a little bit of chili, coconut, really, really thick, creamy coconut milk, fresh chicken, fried with a little bit of garlic. It's just lovely. Really, really tasty Thai green curry. Of course with prawn crackers and rice that's cooked perfectly as well. So I love any meal, really. I can eat anything you could serve to me. There isn't anything you could serve that I really, really would struggle apart from a plate of broccoli. I wouldn't do so well with a plate of broccoli. I hope that answers your question. Okay, this is the last question of the first page. So, if anyone is either still awake or still listening, I shouldn't really thumbs up because it's perfectly fine to fall asleep to videos. That's kind of the point of ASMR. The next question is from Matthew97. How did I find ASMR, and was there a certain creator which got me into it? I think I kind of answered that with Tosca, that I got into it through the 3D haircut. And I don't remember the first creator that I listened to. I really don't. It was probably Ephemeral Rift. He's been doing it for so long and so consistently. At least I think, anyway. I'm not sure, buddy, sorry. Okay, I can go down to page 2 now. Global traveler, where would you most like to travel to in the world, and where is your favourite part of Scotland? That's a really, really good question. I would most like to travel, bizarrely, to Venezuela for one very specific reason. There is some kind of phenomenon with lightning down on a river or above a river in Venezuela, and I forget the name of it. Google lightning in Venezuela and it'll be the first thing that comes up. This phenomenon happens I think it happens every year actually. And this river, almost always has lightning above it. And I remember I was in Florida once. In Florida again, massive, massive spikes of lightning, kind of midnight, every night we saw lightning. I was lying in the pool on a lilo thing one, and you shouldn't do this by the way, it's stupid, but we had a villa, and like our own pool, and like a net fencing around the pool, so you're still outside, but you're covered kind of, but it's just nets, obviously, you're technically outside. I was lying on this lilo, I think I had a drink in my hand, and the heavens kind of opened, and these raindrops about this big started pouring down, and you just heard this huge rumble, and these giant forks started spreading across the sky, and I was lying on this lilo, and of course, the moment you see lightning, you should go indoors. I'm not condoning this behavior, but I was just in absolute awe. I just laid back even further on this lilo, took a sip of my drink, and just watched this absolutely incredible spectacle. It's similar to the feeling of when I climb mountains. I shouldn't say climb, when I walk up mountains, and you get to the top and you look down, and suddenly the amount of money you have in your wallet and how big your house is, all these kind of things, they fade away into insignificance, and these mountains are millions of years old. The sky that you gaze up at is millions of years old, and it puts your fleeting life into perspective. It always has for me, and I've always felt quite, I guess it's a philosophical feeling of sorts. I can't even really describe it very well, but it's a good feeling. It's a feeling that I love, just looking up and experiencing that. So I would love to have the same kind of experience in Venezuela, where it's like 10 times more intense. Okay, my favourite place in Scotland is a place called Glencoe. And Glencoe has the largest mountain in the UK. It's called Ben Nevis, which I've walked up a few times. Again, a very similar feeling when I went down to Glencoe near Fort William for the first time. It's on the far west coast of Scotland. I was just driving through and there's these enormous mountains that are millions of years old on either side of you. And it's just the most humbling and incredible feeling being amongst them and walking up. They're called Munros, not really mountains, they're called Munros. And going up these Munros is just incredible. I'll walk in shorts and t-shirt whether it's windy, rainy, sunny. Providing it's not snow, you shouldn't go in shorts when it's snowing. But I feel everything just feels so fresh and it's amazing. It's a fantastic experience walking through the Munros of Scotland. Definitely, to answer your question, West Coast. Okay, next question is from Rebecca Bernardo. Do you have any idea how rare it is to find somebody so beautiful on the inside and outside as you? Will you consider setting up a Patreon? You seem to buy quite a lot of things for this. You shouldn't be spending your own money to entertain us. Well, thank you for the very lovely comment. The first question. I have no idea how nice I am. What I will say, everything good in me comes from my parents. My parents are the most fantastic, warm and kind human beings you could ever meet. And I mean that. My parents are just the most lovely people, as is my sister. Is just wonderful. My little niece is incredible, and I love my family very much. So, I don't know how rare it is, but I feel like I'm from a very lovely family. So, thank you. And in regards to a Patreon, I'm not sure. I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't want people to come to my channel and say, oh god, he has a Patreon with like, I don't know how many subscribers you need to have before you set up a Patreon. I don't know if I would imagine if I set up a Patreon now, there would be nobody that would be wanting to see any more content from me that they have to essentially pay for. I appreciate that with Patreon you can set the stakes, so even if it was just $1 a month, I suppose for some people that might be quite nice, because some of the props are quite expensive. I mean, the camera I'm using, although the camera actually feels quite crap, it's £220. The microphone's £100. It's not cheap to get into ASMR. And I would like a 3DO one day, I really would. But I shouldn't really justify spending £700 or something. My subscriber base in the grand scheme of YouTube, as I said, is very, very small. I guess I could consider setting up like a Patreon or a PayPal or something for anybody the way to donate, but I wouldn't feel particularly comfortable unless somebody expressed a real desire. Well, I suppose you have, but you know what I mean. Thank you. Okay, next question. Big Man Fe Cumbre. Now, Fe, F-A-E, is a Scottish word for from. So, like, where are you, Fe? Where are you from? So, Big Man Fe Cumbre. Question, do you support a football team? If not, are there any sports teams you do follow? Okay, I played football as a kid, all through school. But when I left school and kind of went to college, I kind of stopped following football, really. My dad's an enormous Sunderland fan, so I guess if I had to pick a team, it would be Sunderland. Like, I can tell you where they are in the league. I think they're third from bottom at the moment in the league. But I wouldn't class myself as a Sunderland fan. But I follow a little bit of football. I always watch international football. That I really enjoy. As far as other sports, I am an enormous boxing fan, which again might surprise a few people. I read about boxing every day. I watch it every Saturday. I've been watching the sport for at least 10 years. I'm a boxing encyclopedia. I really, really love the sport, and I appreciate that. Again, it's not the most mainstream thing in the world to like, but I like it. And what got me into boxing was because I won't reference the actual fight, but there's one very specific fight that I happened to see on TV, and there was this guy fighting a man that looked like he was twice his size, and this little guy put an absolute the performance of his life on, and he won like convincingly, so easily. And I was like, wow, how is this even possible? And from there, it spawned a love of, I suppose, overcoming odds and being the underdog is something that attracted me to the sport, and it went from there. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Dan Nelder asks, what's your favorite series of books? Good question. I have a few book-related questions, so I guess this will answer nearly all of them. My favorite series is this my favorite? Yeah, I suppose it is. There's a character called Druss, the Legend, from an author called David Gemmell. Druss series is, he kind of features in a few series though, so it's not really answering your question. That's more of my favorite character. Maybe the Damned series, with a character called Oleg Skilganin, from, again, David Gemmell. That's probably my favorite series, because Druss actually also features in that kind of, so it's probably the Damned series. Let's go for that. Okay, Jabberwocky. Here's your questions. What are you most passionate about? I suppose I'm most passionate. I can't really answer this question without sounding really cliche. Most passionate about seeing people happy and making people laugh. If you could see me with my family at Christmas, for example, I just act like a big clown, and they really get my humour. And it's not really a side I can really show with ASMR because it's a completely different emotion. But it kind of runs in the same vein of being happy and relaxed, I suppose. So I'm very passionate about having all the people I love in this world as happy as I pretty much always am. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but we'll go for it. What's your biggest fear? I think it was King Theoden in the Lord of the Rings series that said, no parent should have to bury their child. I think that would be my biggest fear, for me to die or to get seriously ill before my parents died. They don't deserve to have to go through that, and I would be terrified of putting them through that. So that would be my biggest fear. I'm not really afraid of anything in this world. I never really have been. No, that's not, as a kid I was afraid of everything, but as I get older, I just, I don't know, just people I love being upset and worried, I guess, is something I don't deal with that very well. Okay, what's your favorite book or movie? Well, I've kind of answered my favorite book. Well, I didn't really. My favorite book isn't even in any of the series that I mentioned in the previous question. It's Lord of the Silver Bow, from the same author, David Gemmell, but this is the Troy trilogy. It's a really good book. All of his books are incredible if you like heroic fantasy style, which I do. Again, it's this whole knight chivalry thing. I like that. My favorite movie? That's a difficult one because again, I'm kind of driven by voice as well as obviously a good movie. I think The Gladiator is a very good movie. I think Shutter Island, the last 30 minutes of that movie are some of the most intense I've ever seen in any movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but when you're not sure who's right, for anyone that's seen it will know what I mean. That's to be able to create that kind of sense of tension and drama in a movie is just genius, and I really like it. Do you know what? I'm going to suggest a movie that's really quite controversial and people might pull a face. Armageddon is actually an amazing movie, and I almost kind of wish it didn't have the kind of love scene with Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler in it, because that's kind of what the film's remembered for now. But there are a lot of really, really intense scenes in Armageddon. Some phenomenal actors, really, really lovely strokes of comic relief, and just all around a very well acted movie. Really, really, really good movie. And again, I know it has a reputation, but I think it's an incredible movie, and I don't mind admitting that. So maybe Armageddon, actually. And I could make a list of like 50 movies that I love. I really could. But I think, honestly, Armageddon's an amazing movie, regardless of the cliche that comes with it. Okay. That was your last one. Okay. Randomly Average asks, just wondering, do you plan on starting a stream to communicate with viewers? Yes. I think that's an amazing idea. I think maybe I hate Sunday nights. I always have never liked Sunday nights because you have work the next day. And you kind of feel like you're at a loose end with Sunday nights. You're not really tired because you probably got up quite late because you went to bed late on Saturday. I do, especially because I'm watching boxing in America. So I might set up like an hour or two every Sunday soon. Once at least like 10 people would turn up, or even 5 people would turn up and enjoy some just general conversation would be quite cool. I'd really like to do that, so definitely on the cards. And that kind of relates back to Bubble Dust's ASMR's question about what are my futures. We should definitely include streaming. And I am conscious about how quickly I'm talking. I get really passionate about everything, really. I'm just like a over-enthusiastic puppy. Okay. Alexander Whittington asks, did you go to college? And if you did, what did you major and did you like it? This is, I could give you the entire story with this, but I went to college, not what you would probably call university. So I did what's called a HND. A HND is kind of similar to the first 2 years of a degree. I did a HND in computer networking and technical support. Did I like it? I've never done very well in education. In school, my parents had to sit for 14 years of school hearing, your son seems quite bright, but he just wants to laugh and make fun all the time, and he doesn't take anything seriously, he has no dedication, no motivation, he'll amount to absolutely nothing. Sorry to say. And I stayed as long as I could at school because I wasn't ready to grow up. I didn't want to leave home and go to university. I didn't have the grades for university, to be fair, because I never studied for a single exam in my life at this point. Never once. I went to college when I left school to do like a basic computing course. When I got to college, I was informed by one of the lecturers that attendance is not mandatory, which I thought was like Christmas comes early, so I didn't go to half my classes. One class in particular I never went to, and I remember the first day I came back to this class, we had an assessment to do. And again, I apologize this video is getting so long, and that's kind of why I'm going to put a timestamp for each question so you don't have to listen to the whole thing. But yeah, we came back. Alright, I went back to this class for the first time in I don't know how long. And we had an assessment to do. And every single person in the class passed this assessment. I took one look at the paper and had no idea what I was doing. And I have always worried a lot in my life. I've always been a big worrier. If I don't have something to worry about, which I almost never do now that I'm older, I'm the happiest man on the planet, I really am. But at that kind of age, I went home and I worried that I was going to fail college and my parents were going to be disappointed, and I started barely sleeping. I was quite ill, and not ill, but I wasn't hungry, and I eat like a horse now. So my mum obviously quickly noticed that something wasn't right. She sat me down and said, "What's wrong?" And I kind of blurted out that I'd been basically going to no classes and I didn't know what I was doing. And she said, "Don't worry, it's okay. Just come out of college for a few years." And I was taking the bus to college every day. She would learn to drive, get a part-time job, and then go back when you're ready. And that's what I did. I got a little job in a petrol station, a gas station if you're in America. And I worked there part-time for 2 years. And it would have been very easy just to come home, play my computer games, be happy, talk to my friends on Ventrilo and Skype and everything else, game away, do my part-time job, and that would have been it. I probably still would have been living at home if I hadn't. The only reason I ended up going back to college was because I wanted to give my parents one thing to be proud of in my life. And God, that makes me sound like my mum and dad have always been enormously proud of me, regardless of anything. They've always been, I can tie my shoelaces, and Mum's like, oh my God, tie your shoelaces. She's like that. My dad's the same. But I felt like I owed it to them to do something that made me feel uncomfortable for at least a little while, and also for my own future. So I went back to college. I did like an introductory course, then 2 more years, and in the second year of the 3, we had our first big exam. And I remember coming home with like 6 weeks to go, and we had an idea what the exam was going to be on, and I opened the book at home in my own time. I turned off my computer and I studied solidly for 6 weeks. And me and my now 2 best friends who met on the course, we got the highest marks in the whole class, probably in the whole year. 3 of us are really smart guys, and it's nice for me to be able to say that, because in college I probably wouldn't have felt that until this exam. I was like, wow, exams aren't actually that bad if you actually try doing proper amounts of studying. And I remember I got an A in my first exam, and I remember running through almost in tears to Mum and Dad saying I got an A, and they couldn't believe it. And then I went on to do the diploma. So this is more like this is my life as opposed to a Q&A. Wow. So yeah, I ended up, you do actually graduate from college in the UK if you do a HNC or D. And I left after that and then got a job. And my job obviously isn't related to my diploma, but that's a whole other question that we can get to some other time. My career history is kind of a funny story, but well, I have to move on. Sorry. Okay. From John Coyne, you said that you traveled to Spain. Have you traveled to any other countries? If so, what was your favorite place you've been? Okay, I've been to quite a few places. When we were in college, me and my 2 best mates, we went on a road trip from the UK down to France, went straight kind of across through the Channel Tunnel. Then we went straight to Amsterdam, stayed there for a couple of nights. From Amsterdam, we went up to Bruges in Belgium for a couple of nights. Then we went from Bruges down to Paris, stayed there for 3 or 4 days, and we came home. So I saw France, Belgium, and Amsterdam, and Holland. I've been to Greece quite a lot. I've seen quite a lot of Thessaloniki, quite a lot of Athens. I spent 8 weeks in Greece and a summer 1 year. I've been to Switzerland, Germany, America. I've seen Las Vegas and Florida. This sounds a bit self-indulgent. I'm just trying to answer your question. I'm not, not that I've been to a lot of places, but by some comparison. But now that I'm listing them all, it makes it sound like I don't want to come across as arrogant. So I've been to quite a few places. I went to Mexico a couple of years ago, and it was absolutely beautiful. We went to River Maya. It was incredible. So yeah, I've been to a few places. What's a favorite place? My favorite place to actually have visited was the Parthenon, or the Acropolis in Athens, Greece. There's something really quite magical about standing next to a building, reaching out and touching it, knowing that it's 2,500 years old, and that there have been so many lives that have been intertwined with this building, so many people that had their own lives, their family, their own memories from generations and generations ago, thousands of years ago. I find that really quite interesting. A little bit sad in a way that I think like 30,000 slaves were used to build the Parthenon, something like that. That might be way off. but it was a lot of slaves that were used to build the Parthenon. And I think it was built in the name of Athena, really, the Greek goddess, who almost nobody worships anymore. And I think that's kind of poignant in a way as well. But yeah, Athens I don't actually like as a city so much. It's kind of more like the European capital of Greece. I quite like the parts of Thessaloniki, but the Acropolis in Athens was definitely my most memorable. Maybe that and the Church of the Holy Basilica in Bruges. That's a really special place. So maybe one of those two. Shannon Canary. Where did you find the ability to communicate and make friends so easily? That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's just the communication I can definitely attribute to my job. It's something that when I started working for the company I now work for, I was very kind of nervous and insecure about everything, really, all the work that I did. And then as I kind of got promoted up, I became a lot more confident in myself and was confident. My voice, I've always been quite confident with. As kind of a teenager in my early kind of 20s, I played a game called World of Warcraft. And even without World of Warcraft, I've always been in amongst Ventrilo and Skype and TeamSpeak, and I've always been talking to people online. So my voice, I've never been kind of shy with my voice. And making friends, I can get on with anyone in the real world. I get on literally with absolutely anybody. I have some background noise, I apologise. I'm going to try and edit some of that. My street's normally really quiet, but I don't know if you're going to hear this, and I don't want you to ruin your question, Shannon. I think it's past. Okay, yeah, the making friends, I have the two guys I met in college are my two absolute best friends and always will be. We have a friendship and an understanding that I don't think I could ever hope to find anywhere else. I have a lot of friends at work, but I have a very kind of small group of really close friends, for sure. But to answer your question, where did I find the ability? Again, let's credit my parents. How did you find the courage to move on after a life-changing disaster? To be completely honest, I don't know if I've ever had a life-changing disaster. I guess it depends who you talk to is what you justify as a life-changing disaster. I nearly died in a car accident. I wasn't hurt in the car accident. It was quite a strange circumstance. Something happened and I should really have died and didn't. I'll maybe elaborate more on that one day later too. It has a way of adding its own perspective or a new perspective to life. But I think your question means more as kind of personal loss. How do you recover from something that really hurt you? I haven't really... My grandfather died when I was young, and I remember being really hurt by that. But I wasn't old enough to kind of wrestle with the complications of emotion. So I can't really answer the question. If you were to ask my advice, I don't know if I'm qualified to give it, but surround yourself with people that love you, that have your best intentions at heart. Reach out to people and don't be afraid to open up to people. People that love you will always want to listen and hear what you have to say and take the time to make you feel better. So, I guess I hope that answers the question. Do you believe in Jesus? And if you do you and your family go to church? My family isn't religious, and we don't go to church. But while I don't really belong to a religion as such, this is a kind of delicate subject. I think that there's an awful lot of mystery and magic and something very majestic about the world and universe that we live in. Something that, to think that it came from nothing, that wasn't benevolent, is very difficult for me to understand or to comprehend. I believe there was something, some kind of something we don't know yet, that created that spark of life. I believe that. So, I'm not a Christian. I believe in a higher power. I believe in something more than we can see with our eyes, for sure. How did you spend your vacation in Spain, and did you eat any great food? If you did, what are your fave foods and cars? Well, I ate a lot of meat in Spain with we have an Argentinian grill house right opposite where my parents live, and it's really, really cheap. You can go there, give a little bit of money, and you can eat all the meat you can eat. So I ate a lot of that, and it's absolutely delicious. The restaurant owner always kind of runs out when he sees me, and he comes and shakes my hand. He says, "Oh, Matt, how are you?" And he calls me Spicy Guy. He always makes me this special spicy sauce, a different kind every time I go. He always ensures that Mum tells him I'm coming, and he'll make me up this special batch that I could pour over all these meats that they could bring out. So that's really, the place is amazing. My favorite car. I wouldn't class myself as a car fanatic, but when I was in my early 20s, I was driving home from my first job when I lived with my parents, and this car went zooming past me at I don't know what speed, and I said I'd never been interested in cars really, other than to get from A to B. But I saw this car and thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in a car, and I only saw that it was a Mazda. And I went home and I googled Mazdas, and I found out it was something called a Mazda RX-8. And from that moment on, I had to have one. So I saved and saved and saved, and I bought one. I only had it for a year and a half because they're a very expensive car to run, but I owned one. Now I have a very standard average car. I like being sensible with my car because while I do love nice cars, they're unnecessarily expensive, I think. So I had the RX-8 for a year, and the RX-8 R3 is my favorite car. That and maybe a silver Lamborghini Gallardo, but that's kind of unrealistic. I hope that answers your question, Shannon. Okay, I think the next name is Roisin, Roisin, or it could be Rosin. Sorry, please correct me. What exactly is your accent? That's a fair question. Okay, so I was born in England, believe it or not, but I've lived nearly all my life in Scotland. We moved up when I was very little with my dad's job, and when I was in school, I had a really broad Scottish accent, actually. I sounded really Scottish, kind of like that. And it wasn't until I left school that maybe when I was around my parents more, who are still both very English, my accent started to kind of mellow down a little bit. Then I went to college, I met more kind of mellow accented people. Then when I started to work, because of the industry I work in with a lot of different cultures, a lot of different accents and nations, that kind of thing. So my accent became what it is now, and it's been like this for a long time, since I started working, I suppose. Just very neutral, and because my accent is quite neutral, I can slip into other accents. Quite a few Scottish people can do that, because our accent is kind of between so many of them. I hope that answers your question. Okay, third page. I think this is the third and final page. Yeah, this is the final page. If you're still here, then thank you. Reckless Poet. If you had to choose a poem to describe how you felt when you hit 1K, what would it be and why? I need to be honest, because that's all I'm ever going to be. I don't really know that many poems, which, for the kind of person that I am and kind of how philosophical I am, I probably should, but I don't. However, I actually went and googled for like 2 hours poems and looked at hundreds, I think, and I found one that I thought really spoke to me and really appealed to my sense of personality, I suppose. And maybe it's a good idea if I actually read it. I don't know if you're going to know it, but I hope you like it. It's called Human Family by Maya Angelou. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy, some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim that they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane, but I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe, and lovers think quite different thoughts while laying side by side. We love and lose in China. We weep on England's moors, and laugh and moan in Guinea, and thrive on Spanish shores. We success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways, we differ. In major, we're the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Natalie Morgan was wondering if you had any suggestions for things to do or places to visit while in Scotland. Okay, you had more to that, but that was kind of the gist of it. I think you said the time you're going, and I've cut that out because I shouldn't have, I'm sorry. If you can, get to the west coast, get to Fort William and Glencoe, climb a set of Munros called the Three Sisters, look for a walk called the Hidden Valley, take that up to the first rise, stand there and look around, and the Hidden Valley was actually used as a place to hide people and cattle from bandits when they came. That's true. But get up to the first rise, look around, breathe in the mountains, and then continue up if you can. If you're a fairly fit person, continue up the rise until you crest the top of the first of the Three Sisters. Look around, and it's just the most magnificent feeling, most magnificent sight ever. And if you see me when you're down there, say hi, because it's probably one of my most favourite walks. It's not by any means the most magnificent, the most beautiful, but it's the first one I really did, and it stuck with me for a very long time. There's also a great place to camp. I said on that first rise, it's a giant, it's a valley, sunken, covered by mountains either side, and you can take a tent and camp there. I would recommend doing that. If the weather is not suited, maybe check out one of the distilleries, anyone in Scotland. Try some of our whiskey that we're kind of famous for. Even if you don't like it, the experience is always worth it. I hope that helps. Okay, from just relaxing, when are you doing a collaboration with Scottish Murmurs? Probably never. I don't think it would make any sense for a creator with nearly 50,000 subs to do anything other than even comment, which is more than I could ask for, with a content creator with 1,000 subs. But it's very sweet of you to suggest. Have you forgiven me for accidentally trying to promote your channel on SML Imagination's video? there's nothing to forgive. You didn't mean any harm to anyone that's confused. I commented on one of Isabel Imagination's videos saying, this is amazing, well done, or something. And sometimes my comments kind of get liked to the top. I don't know why. Maybe because my name has ASMR in it, probably. And I think Just Relaxing replied with, oh my god, you're close to 1,000 subs. Check out this guy's content or something. And I thought that was a bit... And you didn't mean it, obviously. Don't worry, I wasn't upset or angry. But I replied saying that's a little bit disrespectful to Isabel. She's worked hard for her subscribers, and I didn't want to... I thought it was unfair to be advertising my channel, so I just asked him to edit it and remove what he said, and he did, and that was fine. But I wasn't angry. There's nothing to forgive. It's okay. Okay, second last question. Nathan Ortiz. So, how has ASMR helped you? It's sent me to sleep an awful lot of times. It's provided me with an enormous amount of relaxation and entertainment, because there are some of the best voices on this planet in amongst the ASMR community. It's really been a huge source of entertainment and relaxation for me for a long time. I hope that answers the question. Okay, the last name. You're gonna know who I mean because I asked you. You posted the question on another video, and I didn't actually mean for you to re-post the question on this one. I meant if you had any other questions, you can ask, but it's Karsarina, Kirasarina. Karsarina, I think. Anyway, please do correct me. I don't want to keep butchering your name. It's a very nice name. I wanted to know what kind of accent you have, because it sounds a bit Scottish, not full-on Scottish. I suppose I've kind of answered this already. If you were to ask me to classify my own accent, I guess it's a really, really gentle Scottish accent. I can put on a Scottish accent really, really easily. I can do a really mean Glaswegian accent, but I won't do now because it's quite a distinct accent, and hopefully you're at this nice stage of being relaxed if you've actually made it to this stage of the video, which I don't know if anyone will make it to the end. I don't know how long the timestamp is of this video yet, but I imagine it's quite long. But that was the final question. I hope I've answered everyone's. If I didn't, then feel free to ask, and I don't know how I can do another one at some point. I don't know. I hope this has been relaxing. I hope the level of my voice wasn't too loud, and I really hope that my camera has been on and my microphone has picked this up, and the edit will be quite long because I have a few things to cut out with street noise and stuff. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you know a little bit more about me. I am Matt, and I have been enormously grateful for all these questions. See you soon.